After making the trip down to Dodge City last night, the Larks are back home before going to Dodge once again as they take on the Kansas Cannons in a non-league matchup here at Larks Park. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the press box as part of the Larks pregame show. I'm Hank Corsair, and alongside me tonight for the first time this season is Eli Blankenship. And for the start of this season, we've talked about how good the Larks have looked getting out to big leads against some really tough competition, but it's going to be a little different tonight. We're going to find out how they bounce back from a tough loss.
You're absolutely right. And they had a really hot start to the season, and now this coming down this first 4, 5, 6 game stretch, they're going to have to see what they can do to bounce back. This is going to be a real telltale sign to see how they're going to deal with some of that adversity when the regular season really kind of gets back into full swing.
And it's not going to be easy. They're taking on a Kansas Cannons team that started back in late May. This is their 11th game of the season, coming in at 7-3, a team that mixes with local and national talent and has had some good wins with a team that can hit the ball well and get on base, and also some strong pitching as well.
Yeah, and the Cannons, they're not actually in the Larks. The Larks league, their conference, and so it should be an interesting kind of lull in their schedule to give them a little bit of time to figure out some of those things. It's still really early in the season, so they're still trying to work out some of those kinks that they've kind of encountered in the first few games.
And while we're talking about the Larks bouncing back from a loss, we're going to see tonight how they respond to a few changes in the lineup. Thomas Lissy returning at third base in the lineup tonight. Also some newcomers, Brady Kreitzer and Mason Hamlin. And Kevin Goss will make the start tonight on the pitcher's mound. His second start of the year after last season. He was primarily used as a relief pitcher, only making his first start at the very end of the regular season.
Yeah, and you mentioned Brady Kreitzer. He was actually a Fort Hays State player and played for the Tigers this season. I had the pleasure of getting to watch him a few games this season, and he really is quite the player. So he should be a pretty nice talent to add onto this Larks roster.
It's two former Jayhawk Collegiate League rivals clashing tonight. We're about 13 minutes away from first pitch, and we will have that when we come back.
Hey, Larks! So join me down at the old ballpark. I'll be rooting for the Hayes Larks. Hayes Larks! Join me down at the old ballpark. I'll be rooting for the Hayes Larks. Hayes Larks!
we are set to go here at Larks Park as the Larks are back home for just one more night before going back on the road again against the Kansas Cannons. Entering at 7-3, Larks at 3-1. And leading things off for the Cannons will be number 1 Nico Rodriguez against the starter Kevin Goss. First one finds the zone for strike one. First pitch comes at 7:05 p.m. Hottest game so far this year, 90 degrees at first pitch. Only 7-mile-per-hour winds. This one popped up. Running in on it is Reed. And making the catch there was Tabor Stokes for out number 1.
Keep that at bat there for the Larks was primarily just the fact that he got that early strike on him early in the count and just had to protect the plate. There wasn't a whole lot Nico Rodriguez could do but protect the plate there for the remainder of that count. That was such a crucial strike there to start off the at-bat for the Larks.
This is a Cannons team that can jump out to an early start. And now that brings us to number 16, Hunter Alvord. Count will start off 1-0. We'll give you the Larks defensive alignment in just a second. As a half-hearted swing will, I think they'll say Alvord went around. It was a little bit outside, but either way, it's strike one. The Larks defensive alignment will look a little bit different tonight in the outfield. And left field is C.J. Reed, as that one fouled back. Shakes the camera a little bit, but it's all right. And the count now 1-2. Trent Baker returns to center field, and Lane Sparks back to right field. Thomas Lissy back in the lineup at third base. Tabor Stokes at shortstop. Mason Hamlin makes his first appearance as a Lark playing second base tonight. And Jackson Babcock is back at first base. And the catcher tonight is number 21, Lorenzo Rios. Alvord will leave that one outside, 2-2. Alvord, one of 8 players for this Cannons team from the Sunflower State. From McPherson, Kansas, and attended Barton Community College. So the count is full with 1 away. Goss will kick and deal. And there is ball 4 as Alvord heads down to first base.
Now batting the right fielder, number 15, Deacon Munster.
With 1 runner on, that takes us to number 15, the Iowa Western outfielder Tegan Muntz. Kevin Goss will throw it back to first base, but Alvord's back in plenty of time. We'll take a look at the rest of the order for the Cannons in just a second. First pitch finds the zone, strike 1. After Muntz, it'll go with Blake Seafelt, Owen Baxter, Cooper Green, Ethan Nunez, Brady Hunt, and rounding everything out is number 3, Zach McCarwick. Second pitch left in the dirt, 1-1 count to the right fielder. This is a ball inside, and now a steal attempt here for the Cannons. And Alvord gets the second safely. Count now tied 2-1. 14th stolen base of the season for the Cannons. Just the 3rd of the season for Alvord. This one fouled back. Count will now move to 2-2. It's interesting to see how Kevin Goss starts this one. This is his second start of the season. Both of his starts have came against Jayhawk Collegiate League teams. Ground ball fielded by Tabor Stokes. He'll get the throw down to first base, and Jackson Babcock will drop it as it was thrown low. And Tegan Muntz will reach on an error.
That was beautifully played there from the shortstop for the Larks, and really a nice, well-fielded ball. He held the runner on second base. He looked him dead in the eyes, and then made that throw to first base. Just couldn't quite convert there on that out at first. The ball just kind of rolled out of the glove. It should be 2 outs. A little costly there for the Larks. 1 out, sorry.
First pitch fouled away. Count starting 0-1 to number 40, Blake Seafelt, who's playing in the designated hitter position and is also the starting pitcher tonight for the Cannons. Runner at second is Hunter Albert. At first is Tegan Muntz. Goss takes a look back at second. Seafelt will lead the second pitch outside for ball one. On deck is Owen Baxter in the hole, Cooper Green. This one fouled back. And Goss gets ahead in the count 1-2. Seafelt leads the team in average at 367. This is 38th plate appearance of the season, and he swings and misses for out number 2.
It was a much needed out there for the Larks. They really needed to convert there on that particular at bat. As they have 2 runners on base. That was a really big one. As with one of them being in scoring position, all the Cannons needed to do there was have a deep fly ball into right field, and that would have scored a run.
Goss positioning the balls well so far. Now he's going to face off against the catcher, Owen Baxter. Another player for this Cannons team residing from Iowa Western Community College. This one's fouled back and out of play near the fan picnic pavilion. 0-1 count to start.
When you return them to the Larks nest, courtesy of the Hayes Police Department.
Goss takes a look back at second base again. This one heading towards foul territory, and that's where it will drop. 0-2 the count. Baxter with a .457 on-base percentage. Now he's got to try and fight back. This one will be fouled off. Count will stay at 0-2. Has 8 RBIs on the year with a runner in scoring position. Stolen base attempt. This one just barely misses outside. First ball of the at-bat as both runners will advance. Three stolen bases in the first inning for the Cannons, 2 from Albert and 1 there from Tegan Muntz. And this one finds the zone for out number 3. Back-to-back strikeouts is how the inning will come to a close for Kevin Goss, as the Larks will leave 2 Cannons on base. And we go down now to the bottom of the first inning. There is a look at the batting order today for the Larks, as leading things off will be the outfielder from Wharton State Community College, Lane Sparks. Batted 5th in the first game of the season, has taken on the new role as the leadoff batter as he hits this one high into the air, heading back towards the right fielder, Muntz, and he will track it down for out number 1.
Well, went out ripping there on that first pitch and almost got Muntz all the way back to the warning track and didn't quite have enough juice on it to get it out of the park. And, man, that would have been quite a way to start off the ball game for the Larks if he would have pulled that one off.
So with 1 away, that brings up the center fielder, Trent Baker. To my knowledge, he's the only player on this Larks team back for a 3rd season. From Lamar University, currently in the transfer portal. And just like last season, looking to boost his stock and find a new home after playing his first 2 seasons with the Houston Christian Huskies. And transferred to Lamar at the end of last season. Count starts off 1-0. And this one a ground ball. The first baseman making a diving effort for it. He had it for a second, but it gets away from him. And a single on a 1-0 count for Trent Baker.
And that right there, folks, is why you run out every single play as a batter. He almost couldn't quite find the gap between the first and second baseman, and he just barely slipped it by the first baseman, made it to first base. The pitcher was actually there to cover on that play, and the pitcher just didn't quite get there in time and resulted in a base hit there for the Larks.
We've seen that a few times already this season. The Larks positioning the balls well on that side of the field. And now we go to Thomas Lissy, the 3rd baseman, back in the lineup tonight. Did not play 2 nights ago against Dodge City. And once again, another Lark starting in the count 1-0. The rest of the Larks order after this will include first baseman Jackson Babcock, Tabor Stokes, C.J. Reed, Mason Hamlin, and then rounding out the last 2 batters in the order are Lorenzo Rios and Brady Kreitzer. Throw back to first base. Baker's back in time safely. Pitch on the way. Will be fouled on that first base side. Count going to 1-1.
When you saw Baker there, was already hauling, getting off first base. He made it to second base by the time that ball reached the first base coach. So Baker certainly has some speed on him. It should be a point to watch here during this at bat, as he's more than likely going to try and get himself an extra bag.
Pitch on the way from Seafelt, swing and a miss there by Lissy. Down in the count at 1-2. Here's the defensive alignment tonight for the Kansas Cannons. Left fielder is number 3, Zach McCarwick. Center fielder is number 14, Ethan Nunez. And in right field is number 15, Tegan Muntz. We'll give you the infield in just a second after this pitch on the 1-2 count. Left outside for ball 2. Third baseman tonight for the Cannons is number 22, Cooper Green. Next to him is the shortstop, Hunter Albert. Playing second base tonight is number 1, Nico Rodriguez, and the first baseman is number 4, Brady Hunt. And behind the plate is number 30, Owen Baxter. Dropped a little bit, but it's not in the zone. 3-2 for a full count to Thomas Lissy. Larks player with 3 years of Division I experience, spent his first 2 seasons with the Houston Cougars and this last season with Incarnate Word. Line drive headed towards the left fielder. This one's going to drop down and advance both runners. Baker rounded second for a second, but will head back. A single for Thomas Lissy on a full count.
And that was the right call from Baker not to go for third base. He's already in scoring position being on second base right there. The Larks only had 1 out. He didn't need to get home off of that ball, off of that hit, I should say. And so now he's in scoring position. The Larks are now in prime position to put a run on the board here early in this bottom of the first inning.
And with a runner in scoring position, this next guy coming up is not who you want to see if you're the Cannons. It's number 5, Jackson Babcock, the freshman from Colorado School of Mines. Has 6 RBIs already this season. And he was able to reach base 5 times against Dodge City, 4 walks and a single. Count starts 1-0. Tabor Stokes is on deck for the Larks, and in the hole, C.J. Reed. Both runners will advance. The throw down to third base as Trent Baker slides in, and the field ump will say he is there in time. Thomas Lissy also stealing second base. Make that 2 runners in scoring position now for the Larks.
And that was a great double steal there from the Larks. Baker about didn't make it to third base, but the catcher hesitated for that split second as he didn't really know which base to throw to right off the rip, and so it gave Baker that extra half of a second that he needed to get to third base.
Seafelt trying to work back. This one a hard ground ball. The second baseman, Rodriguez, will field it and lightly toss it over for the out, but that's going to be an RBI that brings home Trent Baker.
Yeah, and that is a much welcomed sacrifice ground out there for the Larks. It scores a runner. You'll take an RBI any day of the week in that situation.
From Hutchinson Community College, the shortstop, number 6, Tabor Stokes.
That takes us now to Tabor Stokes playing shortstop tonight. With 2 outs, pitch on the way, ground ball. The third baseman runs up on its screen, and he will throw it down to first base for out number 3. The Larks do score a run, though, as Trent Baker singles on a 1-0 count and advances a couple more bases from a Thomas Lissy single and a stolen base to third, and brought home by a Jackson Babcock RBI. We'll have the top of the second when we come back. Special thank you to our Lark sponsors on the screen, and also a special shout out to today's game sponsors, the City of Hayes Water Conservation, City of Hayes Stormwater Division, and the City of Hayes Storm Sewer, as we thank you for your support of tonight's game in Hayes Larks baseball. 6, 7, 8 batters up in this inning for the Cannons, as it's a 1-0 count to start to Cooper Green, and he misses there, strike 1. Green, an infielder from Roland Park, Missouri. Played this last season at Washington. It was not the Washington I was thinking of when I was doing research. This is a team at the D3 level. And a key player for this Cannons team, a 2023 preseason underclass All-American by perfect game. Working tied in the count, 2-1. On deck is Ethan Nunez in the hole, Brady Hunt. Left outside, that is ball 4. It said 2-1 on the scoreboard, but Cooper Green will walk down to first base.
The center fielder, number 14.
Yeah, and for the Larks, and they're now in a position where they really have to defend. If you're the Cannons, they're in a great position to really attack here. They've got a runner on first, no outs. They can really do a lot with a deep ball into anywhere in the outfield.
Strike 1 there to the center fielder, Ethan Nunez. And Kevin Goss, when he pitched down in Newton in the second game of the season, kind of had to face an early push from the Rebels. Was able to push through and keep it a close game. Now it's working with a 1-0 Hayes Larks lead. A strikeout there to Ethan Nunez with one away. There's a runner at first base. That brings up the first baseman, Brady Hunt. Green taking a pretty decent lead over at first base. This one finds the zone outside, 0-1. Brady Hunt, a Wichita native for the Cannons, a team that resides from Augusta, Kansas. Throw back to first base, and Green's back in time. Goss will deliver the pitch, a swing and a miss, and a throw down to second base. Is Green in there safely? He is. Another steal on the night for the Cannons. They had 3 in that first inning, and there's the first of the second.
Yeah, and that throw from the catcher came in just a tad bit high for the second baseman to put on that tag. The timing was there, just couldn't quite get the throw in the right spot.
Fouled back off the net. Count staying at 1-2. Brady Hunt played at Southeast Community College this last season. As a catcher, he's listed on the Cannons roster as a catcher, but is playing first base in tonight's game. Goss looked back at second base. Down low, there's ball 2. Still 2 strikes in the count as he fouls that one off.
Hunt really having to protect here with it being a 1-2 count. He is certainly in the position where anything close has to be swung at.
Goss continuing to watch for a potential steal. And the ball drops down low. Count is now at 2-2. And Hunt hits this one a line drive. This one's going to drop down, and this one's going to bring home a run. C.J. Reed running after it. Hunt heading towards second base. And that is where he will stay put. An RBI double for the first baseman. 6th RBI for him this season as well.
Well, and that was quite an interesting hit there from the Cannons. It's almost like Hunt wasn't actually trying to swing at that pitch and realized it was going to be a strike at the very last second. It was almost kind of a half swing, and it happened to kind of work out. He pulled it down that that third baseline and was able to just drive it right down that line and somehow kept it from going foul.
And it was a low pitch from Kevin Goss, but he was able to make the most out of it. As Goss now will face off against the final batter in the Cannons order, Zach Makarowick. Grounds this one over to Tabor Stokes at shortstop. He'll throw it towards Jackson Babcock, and there's out number 2. But that advances Brady Hunt to third base.
It was a nice play there from Stokes. Had a nice sliding grab there on the ground, rolled straight into his mitt, came in off of his knee, and just fires it over to first base. Nice play there from the shortstop. Puts the Larks in a better position now with one runner in scoring position for the Cannons.
Starting off 1-0 to Nico Rodriguez as we go back to the top of the order. That left side of the infield has been very impressive so far for the start of this season for the Larks. It's good to see Thomas Lissy back at third base, and Stokes has proven himself so far. 2-0 now to Rodriguez. Had a pop out that went towards left field, and Tabor Stokes was the one that made the play. And now he's up in the count at 3-0. Finding the zone down low and inside. There's strike 1. Now the count is full to Nico Rodriguez. Cannons trying to jump out to an early lead. They've had some close games this year, and now a swing and a miss. This one will be actually a foul ball that rolls away, keeping the count full.
With it being a full count like this, it really is anybody's at bat at this point. This next pitch is so famously called the payoff pitch, and that payoff pitch is always a very important and crucial, can be turning point for really any team, especially in a inning like this with already 2 outs and 1 runner in scoring position.
Goss had 3 strikeouts coming into tonight's game, already has 2 tonight. And there is number 3 as he gets the punch out to end the second inning. The Cannons take the lead with their leadoff batter, Cooper Green. Now we'll see if the Larks can strike back in the bottom of the second. Tie game in the bottom of the second inning as the 6, 7, 8 batters come up for the Hayes Larks. There was a little bit of confusion up here in the press box. It is tied at 1-1. The Larks scored Trent Baker in the first inning, and in the top of the second, the Cannons scored Cooper Green. 0-1 count to lead things off to the left fielder, C.J. Reed. He's played second base in every game this season. Tonight he is playing in left field. This one will be fouled off. 0-2 in the count to C.J. Reed. New player for the Larks is on deck. That's number 7, Mason Hamlin, the second baseman.
Yeah, Reed has a lot of work ahead of him here in this count. It's certainly a pitcher's count here, not in his favor. With an 0-2 count, he's got to protect the plate.
Seafelt delivers the pitch. Ground ball towards the second baseman, Rodriguez. He'll take his time as he tosses it over to Hunt for out number 1. So with 1 away, as we were just saying, a new face makes his way to the plate. It is number 7, Mason Hamlin, the Oklahoma Sooner, and the junior infielder. Played his first season at the Division I level this year, transfer from the Division II level at UT Permian Basin. Swings and misses, starting the count 0-1.
Well, it's really cool to get to see some of these Division I players get a chance to really get their crack at trying to kind of increase their stock a little bit going through over the summer and kind of trying to really improve their overall player as a whole as well. Being able to improve themselves on the daily, especially over the summer, is really important for their college seasons.
He's going to have to try and fight back here as the count goes to 0-2. Left down low, there is ball 1. He made that change from UT Permian Basin due to some coaching changes after his sophomore season, but he left behind a legacy with the Falcons, holds school records for hitting streak and stolen bases in a season. Count stays at 1-2 as that one's fouled off.
Stinger there for him. Comes off the inside of his thigh. Had to take a second there to step aside and kind of take a moment to collect himself. It was Great courtesy there from the umpire to give him a second, walks up to the pitcher and gives Hamlin there a second to recover from that foul tip just straight into his leg.
Pitch on the way from Seafelt. Popped up into foul territory on the first base side. The first baseman Hunt runs after it, and this one goes out of play.
The Larks catcher from Rice University, number 21, Lorenzo Rios.
So now with 2 away, that will bring up the catcher Lorenzo Rios. Played third base down in Dodge City, back to his original position tonight. In for the injured Ray Jesse, and we do have an update for Larks fans. He suffered that leg injury down in Dodge. I got a text message from Frank Leo. This Thursday he will undergo surgery for a broken leg, so we wish him the best on that. 1-0 or 2-0 count to Lorenzo Rios.
That's really tough, especially so early in the season for a Larks player, and even out of his school season. That's really rough. So we really do wish him the best.
Swing and a miss there for Rios. First strike of the at bat. Now 3-1 in the count as that one on the inside gets away from the catcher, Baxter. Very competitive game so far between these two teams. Hard ground ball, first baseman fields it, and the pitcher runs over for out number 3. 3 up, 3 down inning there for the Larks, and they will face off against batters 2, 3, and 4 for the Cannons in the top of the third when we come back. As we start the top of the third inning, a close game so far as the Cannons will bring Hunter Albert to the plate, still facing off against the future Grambling State Tiger, Kevin Goss. This one fouled back in the count, starting off 0-1. Albert was the first player to get on for the Cannons in his previous at-bat, as he was walked on a full count and stole 2 bases on that trip around the bases. Swings and misses, bringing the count to 0-2. Alvord plays both infield and outfield for this Kansas Cannon team. Fouls this one back, keeping the count at 0-2. Ball's landed near our camera quite a bit so far tonight, but it's still doing good. No issues so far. Goss will deliver, and this one will be left outside for ball one. We've already seen so far that's kind of the place where he's gotten a few batters, getting them on the outside and making them try to reach for it. This one misses outside just barely. Count goes to 2-2.
Especially when he's that far ahead in the count. It's really nice for him to be able to try to throw some of that slop to the outside, try and get the batter to bite at something.
In the same spot once again, count is now full.
It kind of allows him to really dictate the count, dictate the at-bat for that matter, without throwing too many risky pitches over the middle of the plate.
And a swing and a miss, and there is punch-out number 5 on the day for Kevin Goss.
Yeah, so far a great outing for Kevin Goss, and he's really put together a nice couple innings that he's pitched and starting to put together a nice third inning as well.
With one away, that takes us to the right fielder, Tegan Muntz. Iowa Western Community College outfielder, also from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Starting ahead in the count at 1-0. Watches another one go by. Moving ahead in the count once again. Designated hitter for the Cannons is on deck. This one hit high into the air. Trent Baker will run up on it after calling for it. And he will make the catch for out number 2. Baker back to center field tonight. Played center field in the first game of the season. And then for the next 3 would be put in right field, and now he's back at his original position. As the Larks face off against the designated hitter and pitcher in tonight's game, Blake Seafelt for the Cannons. Goss will send the pitch his way. This one will drop over Jackson Babcock's head, and Seafelt has his first hit of the game.
Got a little bloop there into shallow right field, just hit it straight over the first baseman, was able to just land that right in the grass and secured himself a nice little base hit there for the Cannons. Luckily for the Larks, they've still got those 2 outs there. It's going to be difficult for the Cannons to put together any more runs here in this inning.
Those are always tough plays to make, but now the Larks hoping to end the third inning the same way they ended the first, with 2 outs and Owen Baxter coming up to the plate as he struck out looking on a 1-2 count in the first inning. And he'll start down in the count. This one, ground ball going towards Hamlin, and he'll just underhand toss it to Babcock for out number 3. 2 outs to start the inning for the Cannons. Blake Seafelt gets a single, and then out number 3 comes there for Owen Baxter. Still tied at 1 as we go to the bottom of the third. As we start the bottom of the third inning, entering the right-hand side of the batter's box is a familiar face here from Hays, Kansas. Playing designated hitter tonight from Fort Hays State, number 4, Brady Kreitzer. Count will start off 0-1 on a check swing.
Well, Brady Kreitzer was a part of that Fort Hays State team that had a really nice season so far, or had a really nice season this spring where they were ranked multiple times throughout the season, and they really did put together a nice season. Kreitzer was certainly an integral piece to that team.
Down on the count now, 0-2. A third-team All-MIAA selection in his junior season. Played his high school years at TMP Marion. And a swing and a miss, and there is out number 1 to start the third inning. So we go back to the top of the order with Lane Sparks. Saw him reach base 2 times down in Dodge City. Had a really well-hit ball in the first inning to right field. We'll see if he can get on base this time around. Been his specialty so far to start the season since moving to the leadoff batter position. Missing outside, count starts off 1-0. Sparks just finished his sophomore season at the community college level, and we just found out a little bit ago he will be taking his talents to the Southland Conference with the Lamar Cardinals. Count now 2-0 to the right fielder. Fouled back, and there is strike 1. Trent Baker is on deck. In the hole for the Larks is Thomas Lissy. Fouled out of play, moving the count to 2-2.
And that check swing kind of got him there. Took a little bit of a check swing, started to pull back on it, and before he knew it, he made contact with the ball. Kind of an unfortunate spot there.
And a line drive. The second baseman won't be able to reach it. And Lane Sparks is on for the first time tonight.
Well, he got pretty close the first time that he made contact on that check swing. That time straightened it out right up the gut, got himself a single. And with only 1 out on the board, the Larks have a chance here to drive a run in here in this third inning. Could put them on top.
And with a runner on, that brings up the RBI leader for the team, who also scored the first run in tonight's game, Trent Baker.
That's exactly what you want for the Larks. You want your guy that can drive those runs in. You don't want to leave any of those ducks on base.
He'll leave the first pitch low for a 1-0 count. Baker making his 24th plate appearance of the season, going towards the shortstop. He'll toss it over to the second baseman, and a double play opportunity won't be made, so Baker will reach on a fielder's choice, but the lead runner is out.
And that's a hard play to make, especially when you have somebody sliding into second base like that. That's why those coaches will tell you to slide into second base is, number one, so you don't get hit in the head with the baseball, and number two, so that you can kind of throw off that player at second base trying to make that force out. And for the Larks, it kind of worked out there, and now they still have a runner on first. They have 2 outs going into this at bat, but still certainly some signs of hope here for the Larks to try and drive another run in.
And it was a slow bouncer, so it was going to be a tough double play to make. But the Larks still have a runner at first base, this time with 2 outs. With 2 outs, that'll bring up Thomas Lissy. Singled on a full count in the first inning. It was the only Lark left stranded in the first inning as he made it all the way to third base. Hard ground ball going towards the second baseman. Will take his time as he throws it over to first base for out number 3. Larks get 2 runners on, leave 1 guy stranded, and it's still a 1-1 game as we start the middle third of tonight's game.
Did you know that?
Once again, the Larks will give their starting pitcher 4 innings of work as Kevin Goss makes his way back to the mound. Other nights we saw the Larks just go 3 innings, but just like the game here against Dodge City a few nights ago, they will have the starting pitcher go 4 innings just like Dalton Campbell. Starting the count off 0-1 to Cooper Green, the first run of the game for the Cannons. Count now goes to 1-1 and as that one gets away from the catcher Lorenzo Rios. Larks don't currently have anybody warming up in the bullpen right now, so we'll see how long they decide to keep Goss in. It's kind of unpredictable. The Larks have had some low-scoring games for their opponents, that is, this season, and they've only allowed one run tonight against a very good Kansas Cannons team.
On Goss with 5 strikeouts on the night, a really impressive outing from him so far against a quality team.
Swing and a miss and make that number 6 as he gets the first out of the 4th inning. That now brings up the center fielder from Colorado Mesa, Ethan Nunez. Player that played 63 games in his first 2 years at Colorado Mesa. Very successful player and is now in the transfer portal looking to find a bigger school, possibly at the Division I level. Count now goes to 0-2. He's already struck out looking once tonight. This one finds the zone outside. Back-to-back strikeouts for Kevin Goss.
7 strikeouts on the night already here in the 4th inning for Goss. That's a very productive outing to say the least, and 7 and counting that is. And so Goss with a chance to really put up some substantial number of strikeouts tonight.
And 2 strikeouts on the night against a guy that loves to swing the bat. Nunez has now been struck out 17 times this season. In a young season. As with 2 away, Brady Hunt will come up to the plate. With 7 strikeouts on the day, I honestly don't think I have to think about it. If the Larks win tonight, Kevin Goss will be one of the players we interview at the end of the game.
Yeah, and I think that's most certainly the right call with the outing that he's had so far.
Count tied 2-1 to Brady Hunt. He brought home the first run for the Cannons in the 2nd inning. An RBI double on a 2-2 count. Line this one into right field. Running after it is Sparks, and this one will land in foul territory.
From the press box, that looked like that was going fair, and I was a little bit surprised to not see the right fielder for the Larks. Very much effort there to get out to that ball, and sure enough, it landed foul. He had certainly have a better vantage point on it than we did. I thought for sure that was going to be extra bases there for the Cannons.
It's a hard spot to reach here at Larks Park. It's shorter than some of the fields that we've seen so far this year, the 319 mark in right field. But if you can hit it, you should be able to advance multiple bases and possibly bring home some runs if you got runners on. Goss delivers the pitch. This one takes a bounce in the dirt, and the count now full. Looking for another strikeout, but this one will go inside, and now Brady Hunt will walk.
Tried to find that inside corner on him, just couldn't quite find the inside edge of the strike zone, was a little bit too inside, got really close to his knees there and couldn't quite find his corner. And no harm, no foul here for the Larks, though, as Goss still has 2 outs with only 1 runner on.
Strike 1 to Zach McCarwick, the the left fielder for the Cannons. Grounded out into a 6-3 play in the 2nd inning. And this one will get away from Rios, but he's able to pick it back up in plenty of time. The first baseman or Brady Hunt will remain put at first base.
Well, and Hunt thought about it. He looked straight at the ball, stared down. Catcher for the Larks and decided better of it.
Count now goes to 2-1. Harwick trying to get on base for the first time tonight, leads the team in on-base percentage at .500. Throw back to first base, not in time as Hunt gets back safely. Harwick, an outfielder from Murray State Community College. A pretty good number of Cannons reside with experience from that school. This one a line drive into left field, but this one's going to go foul, moving the count to 2-2.
Well, if that one would have been straightened out, that would have had the distance and the juice to go all the way. That was an absolute rocket off the bat. I'd love to know how quickly that came off the bat. That was just absolutely smoked.
We've had a lot of home runs, and this is just the second game of the year at Larks Park. We had, I believe, 6 in the home opener against Dodge City, 5 of which of those came from the Larks. Ground ball going towards Mason Hamlin. On the run, he'll field it and throw it to Jackson Babcock for out number 3. 2 strikeouts to start the inning from Kevin Goss. Brady Hunt walks on a full count, and Zach McHarwick grounds out on a 4-3 play as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Jackson Babcock will make his way to the plate to start the 4th inning, as Blake Seafelt will stay on the mound for the Cannons. And a ground ball to start the inning, and the shortstop making a dive for it, but can't get it. A leadoff single for Jackson Babcock. Had an RBI in his first at-bat and then gets a single here in the 4th inning.
No hesitation there for Babcock. Just drilled that one right up the gut. And a nice hit there. Nice knock for him. With no outs on the board, this could be a nice inning put together for the Larks.
That'll bring up Tabor Stokes playing shortstop once again tonight. Just finished his sophomore season at Hutchinson Community College. And after you finish your sophomore year at JUCO, you're looking to play at a higher level. For him, he might have the opportunity after tonight. We were told before the game that to the left of the press box is a scout at the D1 level for Ball State. Taking a look at Tabor Stokes, he interviewed him before the game and is here watching him tonight. Grounds this one to the shortstop. He'll make the throw to second. Double play opportunity is not in time. Stokes will make it there safely, able to outrun the play. But there's one away here in the 4th inning.
The shortstop, number 6, Tabor Stokes. Correction, the left fielder, number 1, C.J. Reed.
That now takes us to Tabor Stokes' college teammate, C.J. Reed. Both resided from Hutchinson Community College this last season. Throw back to first base, but Stokes is back safely. Seafeld again throws it back. Stokes just gets back in time. Looks like we do have some guys warming up in the bullpen right now for the Cannons. It's a team that is known for getting strikeouts. They only have one tonight. They had 97 through their first 10 games. But tonight they've really just been, the pitching has really just gotten help from his fielders. They do have one guy in the bullpen right now. It's number 35 from Mays, Kansas, Aiden Doty. See if he possibly comes in this next inning in relief for Blake Seafeld. Is the count now 1-1 to Reed. Left outside, count tied 2-1. This one a line drive. Reed will get it past the shortstop. Both runners will advance. Stokes had the burners going, but he will stay at second base as he has to slide back. Stumbled crossing the base, but he is there to second base safely.
Well, and Stokes really has some wheels, and you saw it right there. He rounded second base thinking he was going for 3 and just couldn't quite make it there. He kind of went halfway, and it was a nice decision from him to dive right back to second base as the Larks, with only one out and a runner in scoring position, could make something happen here and pull away here with this lead.
And now with a runner in scoring position, that takes us to number 7, Mason Hamlin. The Oklahoma Sooner that spent his first 2 years of his college career at UT Permian Basin. Starting in the count 0-1. Has 83 had 83 RBIs in his last 3 years of college baseball. Trying to bring a run home and give the Larks the lead back. Low and inside, there's ball 1. Another one left low, and now a steal attempt here for Tabor. Stokes was stumbling a little bit as he was headed to third base, and they got him for out number 2.
Well, and you said it best. He kind of stumbled there mid-steal. He had a nice jump, actually. He really timed it pretty nice, too. Just kind of stumbled mid-steal, and that really cost him there when he slid into the bag. The throw was there probably at least a second before he got to the bag.
So the lone runner on is C.J. Reed. And now we're going to have a meeting as the pitching coach for the Cannons makes his way out there. The umpires are out on the mound too. Not sure what it's about. Now the infielder is coming in as well. Again, we've noted that the Cannons do have someone warming up in the bullpen. A right-handed pitcher from Hutchinson Community College, Aiden Doty. Looks like Seafelt will continue his day on the mound as the infielders slowly return to their positions. Did you notice anything that happened on that last play?
I didn't, and I was trying to figure out what happened, and it almost looked like maybe he got clipped or maybe just tweaked something or something after he threw that last pitch, and it just seemed like maybe something happened for sure, at least to the pitcher, where he, I think, maybe just tightened up or had a cramp or something and needed to just kind of give him a second to throw it out, and that's at least what it appeared to me.
Ground ball past the third baseman, and the Larks once again get a runner in scoring position as C.J. Reed makes his way to second base. First hit as a Lark for Mason Hamlin as Lorenzo Rios comes up to the plate.
It's a nice little knock there for Hamlin. Got it into left field off the ground. And now with runners on first and second, the Larks have 2 outs. They just need a base hit here to drive in a run.
Always a tough battle right here. Right-handed pitcher against a left-handed batter. Starting the count 1-0 to the catcher from Rice. Rios has 2 RBIs in the 4 games that he's played so far this year. And this one, a line drive right into the first baseman glove for out number 3. Not much you can say there, just a great play made on that side as the 4th inning comes to a close. We've got a tight one down here at Larks Park, still 1-1 after 4. After a strong showing today from Keevan Goss and going 4 innings of work, his day will come to an end, only allowing 2 hits and 1 run against the Cannons and getting 7 strikeouts on the day, as the Larks will make a call to the freshman Braxton Buer.
Well, if you're Coach Leo, there's nothing more you can ask of Goss. That is a very productive day on the mound. 7 strikeouts is a very nice mark to hit, especially in the 4 innings that he did it in. And now for the Larks, they've just got to close this game out.
And it's great to see Goss take his new position very well. He was a relief pitcher last year, being primarily used as a starter this season. And Buer will face off against the top of the order here in the top of the 5th inning. That will bring up Nico Rodriguez. 0 for 2 for him on the day. Popped out to start the game and struck out looking on a full count in the 2nd inning. One and 1 count. Line drive will land in foul territory. Babcock was making a run for it, but didn't have to worry about it, as that's now 2 strikes in the count.
Just got him jammed up, pitched him to the inside edge, and that hit him. He hit the ball pretty much really close to the handle, and that's what jammed him up and sent that ball foul the way it did.
On the outside, that's ball 2 to Nico Rodriguez. And he'll foul this one back out of play over the press box, keeping the count at 2-2.
Well, I can confirm that ball did not go to the direction of my car, so I'm thankful for that.
It's one of the things you got to worry about here at Larks Park. That's why it's nicknamed the parking lot of doom. Staying alive, 7th pitch of the at-bat coming up next. And how the Larks are facing off against Rodriguez really talks about how well this pitching has done so far. He leads the team in walks and runs and is 0 for 2 on the day. And this one popped up in the infield. Rios running after in foul territory, and he makes the grab for out number 1.
That was a quality at-bat there for Rios. Really worked the count quite a bit. Fouled it off quite a number of times. Just couldn't quite get it to straighten out. And the Larks are going to benefit from that at bat there on Rios, as the fly out there at the end to end that at bat is a bit of a uneventful ending to that quite lengthy at bat there for Rios.
That brings up the shortstop wearing number 16, Hunter Albert. Struck out on a full count as well in his previous at bat. His was swinging, and he was also walked in the first inning of tonight's game. 1-0 count for him against Braxton Buer. This is his second appearance of the season. Or correction, this is actually his third appearance of the season. Was a starter in the season opener down in Dodge City on June 4th. Count now 2-0. Swing and a miss, tying it back up.
And that one had some heat on it. The pitch right before that, he threw that changeup, went right back to the fastball after that, and kind of mistimed that batter, kind of playing mind games at this point.
Breaks down, but it's misses the zone. Count going to 3-1. Popped up high into the air. Running from third base is Thomas Lissy. This one's going to land in the crowd. And no one will catch it as it just takes a huge bounce. And then someone does catches it after it takes the bounce. As I don't know if you can hear it on the stream, the crowd cheers for him.
Well, this is not banana ball. You do not get an out if you catch the ball in the stands. So still just one out for the Larks.
That would be a huge advantage for the Larks if they did do that, because everywhere we've gone so far this season, this crowd's only about like 25% capacity. We got a packed crowd here tonight.
Well, it would certainly encourage teams to try to get their fans to show up to ball games, and the Larks faithful always show up really well to games, and man, it's such a great sight to be able to see Larks Park packed the way that it is almost every time the Larks are playing at home.
There was a full count walk there to Albert, and now that brings up Tegan Muntz. The Sioux Falls, South Dakota prospect from Iowa Western Community College reached on an error in the first inning and flew out to center field in the third inning. Count starts off 0-1. He's actually going to take his talents to Southeast Community College next season after he redshirted this last season at Iowa Western. Count is now 2-1 with one away. A stolen base attempt here as Rios lost control of the ball as he was getting ready to throw it down to second.
Yeah, the ball just slipped out of his hand. His reaction time was there, just couldn't quite get his hands around the ball when he pulled it out of his glove, and that transition between the glove and hand, and gave up that stolen base there for the Cannons.
Line drive into center field. Trent Baker having to run to the wall after it. Sprinting for it. This one will take a bounce, and it will bounce over the fence for a ground rule double, and that will bring home Hunter Albert.
Well, Baker was really hauling. He put on the wheels. His hat flew off there and took a very friendly bounce there for the Cannons, and a ground rule double it will be for them, and it'll score a run, a pretty crucial run at that, as that'll put the Cannons now out on top 2-1.
That'll take us to Blake Seafelt, the designated hitter. Singled in his previous at-bat, and we'll wind this one out of play. Seafelt's kind of the do-it-all player for this Cannons team, used as a pitcher and a fielding player as well. Leading the team in average on the year at .367 entering tonight's game, as he swings and misses down on the count 0-2. He'll line this one into center field. Baker will run up on it. He'll take a bounce, and he'll have to throw it home, as Babcock will be the cutoff. They will leave that man at third.
That was good situational awareness there from Baker. Instead of making that throw just to second base, he went for it all and threw it back towards home. And it was his reaction time and his decision making there that saved that run for the Larks.
Like we mentioned earlier, this is his third year back with the Larks. He's been one of the key outfielders in those 3 years, and you saw it there, preventing another run from scoring. That'll take us to the catcher, Owen Baxter, starting the count 1-0 after that one misses low. This one will stay in the infield. Tabor Stokes will backpedal a little bit, and there is out number 2.
Well, that is the insurance out that the Larks really needed there. They had a runner on. They have a runner on third with the Cannons really threatening to score here again and kind of blow open this lead. One run is certainly a lot more manageable than 2 in terms of getting some points up on the board in a low-scoring game like this. So a much needed out there for the Larks.
Another count starting off 1-0 for Buer against the batter for the Cannons. This time it's Cooper Green. Faced with 2 balls in the count once again, that as Green was struck out in the 4th inning on a 2-2 count. Thought about swinging, but we'll leave it inside, ball 3. And it's 4 straight balls as Cooper Green will make his way down to first base.
Yeah, and they'll have a bit of a meeting on the mound there, trying to comfort his pitcher, as that's a bit of a rough go for him. 4 straight balls can certainly get into a pitcher's head, and so with 2 outs and bases loaded, you've got to think just play catch. That's all you got to do. You got to force out at any bag. I mean, you're really in almost a fail-safe situation where you can throw to really any bag and make a play.
Buer's been faced with one of each situation so far. A close game down in Dodge City where he was the starter, and then against Dodge City again where the Larks had the big lead, where he came in relief for Dalton Campbell. And the count goes 0-1 to Ethan Nunez, the center fielder. Popped up, but going out of play. That is strike 2. The outfielder from Chino Hills, California, swings and misses, and that is how that inning will come to an end. A run does score as the Cannons do take the lead back, but it looks like they might go with a pitching change here in the bottom of the 5th inning. We'll see how the Larks respond to it when we come back. So it turns out that the Cannons will not make the change on the mound. making Seafelt the player that the Larks have seen the most in one showing this season in the bottom of the 5th inning as he starts off against Brady Kreitzer.
Well, it's interesting because Seafelt's actually let up 6 hits. He's allowed 6 hits and only on only 1 run in an error with only 1 strikeout. So Seafelt, in terms of pitching goes, striking out has really not been his forte. It's been his fielders that have really come up big for him today in this outing.
He's averaged 3.5 innings through his two appearances so far. This was his 3rd appearance and start in tonight's game. So we'll see what he does this time around. There is strike 2 to Brady Kreitzer.
From what I can tell, looks like they have one in the bullpen warming up for the Cannons, so I think it may just be a matter of time before Seafelt gets pulled out of this game.
Full count out of Brady Kreitzer. I noted a few innings ago they had Aiden Doty in the bullpen. I think that new one is a right-hander from Butler Community College, Gavin Willett.
I actually see, well, no, there's still, no, just one now.
Hard ground ball, the third baseman, Green, will lose control of it, so Kreitzer gets on with an error.
And that one kind of stings there for the Cannons. And what seemed like was going to be a sure out turns into a base hit there for the Larks, and he reaches first on an error.
And when your pitcher is going to go for this long, this is the point where you really got to rely on your fielding. They just got to hope that this one doesn't snowball, especially now that the Larks are back to the top of the order with Lane Sparks.
A lot of times that can happen too, especially when the Larks kind of get a little bit of momentum, get that runner on first, no outs. Now the Larks are really in a position to attack.
Pitch on the way, Sparks shows bunt. Had the right idea in mind, but this one will roll towards the Larks dugout.
He tried to lay down a real nice one down that third base line. Just couldn't quite get it straightened out.
Seafelt will deliver the pitch. Half-hearted swing there for Sparks. It's strike 2. Kreitzer taking a pretty big lead over there at first base as there's the first ball in the at-bat to Sparks.
Well, Kreitzer definitely has some wheels. We'll see what he can do here on the bags, in the base paths, I guess I should say. With no outs for the Larks, I would expect to maybe see him attack.
Left outside, ball 2. Looking like the catcher tried to frame it, but just couldn't get it enough inside. Fouled back, out of play. Another one going over the press box will keep the count at 2-2.
Well, and you weren't kidding when you said the parking lot of doom. The parking out here by Larks Park is certainly a challenge, and that one going straight over us, actually. It had some height on it.
I'm a little nervous about that one. I think that one was near my car with the trajectory. Same spot again, count staying 2-2.
Well, if the first one didn't, I think the second one certainly had a chance.
Lane Sparks showing some fight as the leadoff batter. Throw back to first base. Kreitzer doesn't have to worry about it. And I think this one's going to pay off. Center fielder runs up on it, and it drops down in front of him. 7-pitch at bat for Lane Sparks pays off as he gets a single and advances Kreitzer to second base.
Kreitzer actually almost took third there just a second ago. The ball was overthrown and kind of slipped out of the outfielder's hand or something, and the ball kind of went astray, and it looked like Kreitzer was looking for extra bases there, but nonetheless, he'll stay at second. And with runners on first and second, the Larks are in a great position here to drive in some runs. Being down a singular run, this is exactly where they want to be here with no outs in the bottom of the 5th.
Trent Baker will come up next. He's currently having a meeting with head coach Frank Leo. I'm a little surprised that now that the Larks have a runner in scoring position, the Cannons aren't going to have a meeting of their own.
I am too. I'm surprised that Seefeld's still out on the mound, or at least hasn't been visited by a pitching coach yet.
We've noted Baker is the leader in RBIs for the Larks. As Kreitzer in scoring position. That'll be called ball one. When you're trying to mount a comeback, this is the best part of the order that you can have up with Baker, Lissy, and Babcock. Count tied 1-0 as Seefeld delivers. Looks like it took a bounce in the dirt, but they're going to call that strike one.
And sometimes those pitches just have so much movement on them, they can find that outside corner, just barely get there, and then drop down into the dirt.
It's a little tough to tell from our angle, but count is now 1-1. Kreitzer taking a big lead at second base. Swing and a miss there by Baker.
Baker was going for dead on that ball. Man, he really swung real hard on that ball. If he would have had that, that ball would have been crushed.
Seefeld's ready, so is Baxter. This one's going to get away from him. Both runners will advance. And now heading for home is Kreitzer. Will he get there in time? He slides in, and he is there. A tie game here at Larks Park, as setting put at third is Lane Sparks.
Well, and that right there is a prime example of why catcher is one of the most important positions in baseball, because a slip up like that can change the lead in literally a split second. And it was really cool to get to see Baker from the batter's box actually playing kind of a third base coach in a way, waving Kreitzer on home. He told him to go three, and then he started to continue to wave him to go home, and actually it was Baker who really was the one playing third base coach in a sense.
That's where his experience with Hayes Larks baseball pays off. He knew that the opportunity was there, and it paid off. He strikes out, and that's just the first out of this fifth inning.
The third baseman, number 15.
So now Thomas Lissy making his way to the plate. 1 for 2 in today's game. Had a single in the first inning and made it all the way to third.
Well, all the Larks need here is a deep fly ball, and they can take the lead here with the runner on third.
Ground ball and another missed dive there for the Cannons as the first baseman couldn't come out with it. And an RBI single for Thomas Lissy.
Well, that'll work just as well, too. And now Lissy getting on base, getting that RBI single, driving in the run, and now the Larks back on top 3-2 just like that in the same inning. It's funny how baseball works. A lot of times you'll see those scores kind of go back-to-back, and it does just that here in the fifth, with 1 run scored for the Cannons in the top of the fifth, and now 2 runs scored by the Larks here in the bottom of the fifth.
And now as the Larks take their first lead since the first inning, that is where the meeting will come in for the Cannons. Might be the end of the day for Seefeld. We'll see here in just a second. And I think I can see the guy in the bullpen is making his way out. We will step away and see who the pitcher coming in as a replacement is when we come back. Aiden Doty will be the pitcher that takes over for Blake Seafeld after 4 1/3 innings. And Eli, you know quite a bit about Aiden. What can we expect from him tonight?
Yeah, Aiden went to high school with me, actually. At Mays High School is where he graduated from in high school, and he really was a leader for that Mays baseball team, and he has an arm on him. He really can throw a pretty quick, and I was just watching him there in warm-ups. It's really interesting. When he was warming up, I didn't really see him bring his front leg up super high, and so he kind of has a quick release there in a sense for this for his windup, and so it should be an interesting kind of combination there for the Larks to have to face, as that can be sometimes kind of hard to read when the windup isn't nearly as fast.
And we've noted tonight the Cannons have relied a lot on their fielders. They're sending in Aiden Doty, who's their team leader in strikeouts with 13, to try to stop the Larks right here. Count now 1-1 to Jackson Babcock.
Yeah, and Aiden actually has a younger brother that also plays baseball that is also a pretty good player himself. So baseball certainly runs in the blood of the Doty family.
This one will be left low, tying the count at 2-1. Babcock already has a hit in tonight's game. Eight hits so far for him on the season. This one will go low, but be called strike 2. The runner at first base is Thomas Lissy. Doty delivers the pitch. This one left outside. A stolen base here. And Lissy will be caught stealing, and there's out number 2.
Yeah, and Lissy really didn't get quite early enough of a jump on that play, and that's why he got thrown out the way that he did. And when he had the lead of the size that he had, it wasn't nearly big enough of a lead for him to go that late, and so almost got there in time, but nonetheless was thrown out. And now with a full count and 2 outs, the Larks will more than likely end this inning with the 2 runs that they scored.
So Babcock will make his way down to first base on a full count walk. And that will bring up Tabor Stokes. This is just something I'm noticing. It looks like Doty, when he winds up his arm, it looks like it's kind of a shorter motion, and it's kind of helping him out, especially on that stolen base attempt from Lissy.
For sure, it's really hard to read as a runner and a batter both, especially when you're trying to steal a bag or you're trying to read what pitch it is. You have a lot less time to react.
Now we'll see what he does against his college teammate Tabor Stokes. Both of these two played at Hutchinson Community College. Doty made 13 appearances this season with the Blue Dragons and had a 2-0 record. And he redshirted his first season in 2024. Count starts off 1-0 to Tabor Stokes. Another ball finds the inside. Noted Tabor Stokes being looked at tonight by a college scout to the left of us in the press box. Or he's outside of the press box rather, but he's to the left of us from the MAC Ball State. Ground ball, the shortstop won't be able to get it. Another single for Tabor Stokes. Or actually his first one of the night, second time he's gotten on base.
It's a nice hit there from Stokes. Found the gap between the shortstop and third baseman. Hit it right in between them and advances a runner. Now with the runner in scoring position, the Larks might be able to put together a little 2-out rally here.
The left fielder, number 1, CJ.
And as they got a runner in scoring position, that'll bring up another college teammate of Aiden Doty, CJ Reed. Played at Hutchinson as well this last season, but we've noted before taking his talents to the Big Ten next season with the Ohio State Buckeyes. 2 away, the runner at second is Babcock, at first is Stokes.
You've got to think some of his teammates may have almost a little bit of knowledge about the way that Doty pitches. in terms of just his wind-up and the pitches he likes to go to. So on both sides of it, too, for Doty, you've got to think that he may know where what these hitters like to hit and what they don't like to hit.
Swing and a miss, bringing the count to 0-2. And something that I just realized for the Larks fans tuning in tonight, we do trivia in the 5th inning. I forgot to pull that up. We will do it in the top of the 6th inning after this inning. And this one finds the inside part for the strikeout. Larks fans not happy with the call, but they do take the lead there in the bottom of the 5th inning with runs from Brady Kreitzer and Lane Sparks. We go to the top of the 6th inning. Larks 3, Cannons 2. The Larks will make a change on the pitching mound, and it's one that's kind of unexpected. They will bring first baseman Jackson Babcock to the mound for his first appearance as a pitcher this season. Count starting 1-0 to Brady Hunt. This is not Babcock's first time pitching, though. He played outfield, infield, and was a pitcher in high school in Leak City, Texas. As the count goes to 2-0. Finds his own first strike of the at-bat. Ground ball fielded by Mason Hamlin. He will throw it to C.J. Reed, who is now playing first base, and there's out number one. So we'll give you an update of who the changes are for the Larks. The left fielder now is Brady Kreitzer. Trent Baker and Lane Sparks will stay put, and that left side of the infield will remain the same. Mason Hamlin is at second, and C.J. Reed is now playing at first base in place of Babcock. Ball one to start for Zach McCarwick. Another strike there for Babcock. Count now tied up at 2-1. Going up against the outfielder from Murray State Community College that leads the Cannons in on-base percentage, swings and misses. He's put the ball in play twice tonight. Both of those have been ground outs. One to Mason Hamlin and another to Tabor Stokes. 2-2 on the way. Finds the zone, and there is the first strikeout of the season for Jackson Babcock.
Wow, that was a nice pitch. That was real pretty looking. Finds the inside edge. Got him looking. I mean, he looked back at the umpire kind of confused and almost dazed that struck him out, but sure enough it did. Now 2 outs, 2 down here in the top of the 6th for the Larks.
And a good sight there for Babcock. Like I just said, he played pretty much everything in high school at League City, Texas. And he's still a young player. Spent his freshman season at Colorado School of Mines, was one of their top hitters, but is showing tonight he can do a lot on the mound as well.
And he's really throwing some heat there too. His windup just allows him to generate so much power as a pitcher.
Count tied up now to Nico Rodriguez, 4th time that the Cannons return to the top of their order. This one curves back in, and there's strike 2. Rodriguez having to fight back, 0 for 3 on the day. Pitch on the way is a line drive, and Mason Hamlin will run up, and a 3-up, 3-down inning in his first inning as a pitcher for Jackson Babcock. We're through 2/3 of tonight's game, and the Larks still lead at 3-2. The bottom third of the order will lead off the bottom of the 6th inning for the Larks. This one fouled back by Mason Hamlin. Cameron's taking some hits tonight, but the netting has not got in the way yet as the count starts off 0-1.
A resilient camera, to say the least. It is certainly withstood some pretty fast pitches.
It's not a fun night for me down in Dodge City. I think I had to leave the booth 6 times or so, or I'm probably exaggerating that a little bit, more like 3 or 4 to go fix it. We got 0 tonight.
Can only imagine. It's certainly a relief for you to be able to just sit up here and focus on the game.
This one popped up in the infield. Nico Rodriguez just needs the gravity, and there it is for out number 1. So now that brings up the catcher, Lorenzo Rios.
Number 21, Lorenzo Rios.
He's put the ball in place twice so far tonight. He's Batted in the 2nd and 4th inning so far, and now is back for another even inning in the 6th. They'll show bunt. Will this one stay fair? It will not. He had it tight roping down that third base line, but that will be foul ball.
That had the potential to really be a nice bunt, and he laid it down just perfectly, and the third baseman wasn't quite ready for it because he didn't show bunt until the pitch was almost out of Aiden Doty's hand there.
Finding the zone, bringing the count to 0-2. With one out, Doty delivers, swing and a miss, and there is the strikeout for out number 2. That now brings up number 4, Brady Kreitzer, the Fort Hays State Tiger that is a native of Hays, Kansas. Reached on an E5 in his previous plate appearance in the 5th inning, and it was the first run of that 5th inning that tied the game up. Was just added to the team earlier today. Coach Frank Leo says that he's only joining temporarily until everyone comes in. We keep noting this Larks team not at 100% yet, but it's great to see that this start that they have so far. Count now 2-0. Larks should be getting a couple other guys here very soon. Garrett Gruel with the UTSA Roadrunners. They got eliminated in the Super Regional, so he will be joining the team soon. This one a hard hit ball into the outfield. Running after it is Nunez. He's at the wall, and will this leave the yard? It will. A solo home run for Brady Kreitzer in his first game as a Hays Lark.
See ya later. How about that for a temporary player? Brady Kreitzer going the distance, almost into the deepest part of the field, finds that pitch that he wanted, and Doty, who has really pitched a pretty good game so far, lets up a home run after what seemed to be a game that he was completely in control of, and now the Larks going up by 2 full runs.
2 runs scored for Kreitzer in tonight's game, and now Lane Sparks back up to the plate. Finds the zone, strike 1. This one a ground ball fielded by Rodriguez. Takes his time. Sparks was making a run for it, but is unable to get there. There is out number 3. 2 outs to start the inning, but Brady Kreitzer comes up in a 2-0 count and hits a solo home run to extend the Larks lead at 4-2. We start the final 3 innings when we come back. As we get started to set the top of the 7th inning, we will reveal our trivia question for tonight before we get back in action. The Kansas Cannons are the only team on on the Larks regular season that they met in the NBC World Series last season. So tonight's question is, which former Hayes Lark helped the team to an 11-8 win over the Cannons in pool play of the World Series? He led in all three of those categories that you see there, 2 runs, 2 hits, and 3 RBIs. Was that former player Will Carpenter, Wilbert Espinal, Caden Ashton, or Houston Russell? We will reveal the answer in the bottom half of the 7th inning. But for now, 2-3-4 up next as Jackson Babcock is back to the mound. Count now goes to 1-1 against Hunter Albert. Babcock delivers. Doesn't quite clip Albert. He was kind of bracing for it. But the count will stay at 2-1, tied up. Line drive into center field. Baker will run up on it a little bit. And there is out number 1. Larks just trying to maintain this 4-2 lead and get win number 4 on the season. As that brings up the 3rd batter in the order for the Cannons, Tegan Muntz. Inside part of the zone, ball 1. There's a lot of Larks players on this team that have prior experience playing pitcher, even though that's not their position with the team. It's great to see Babcock with the start that he's had tonight, taking on this new role. Line drive back up the middle. This one will get Muntz on base for the 3rd time tonight, as he's on with 1 away. So now that brings up the designated hitter, the 4th batter in the order, Blake Seafelt. Was the starting pitcher, but will stay in the order because he's the designated hitter. Back-to-back singles for him after striking out in his first at-bat. There is strike 1. Again, if anybody wants to play along with trivia tonight, the question is, which Hayes Lark helped the team to an 11-8 win over the Cannons in pool play of the World Series with 2 runs, 2 hits, and 3 RBIs? Was it Will Carpenter, Wilbert Espinal, Caden Ashton, or Houston Russell? Count now 1-1 to Blake Seafelt. Just finished his first season at the D2 level with East Central down in Oklahoma. Count now at 2-1. Throw back to C.J. Reed at first base was not in time. Moving one spot, or moving in from left field rather, because of the substitution with Babcock on the mound. Count now 3-1 to Seafeld as that one rolls away from Rios. And that is ball 4 as Rios looked back at first base, but that runner Muntz will head down to second base after a 3-1 count walk for Seafelt. One away as the Cannons trying to put themselves back in this game. That brings up Owen Baxter, the catcher. The Larks going to have a short meeting with the infield. And I also see Keith Harper making his way out to the mound as well.
Well, with only one away here, and they've got runners on first and second, they've got to be a little wary as the technically go-ahead run is at the plate right at the moment as we speak. And with the fairly productive night that the Cannons have had tonight on offense, obviously you want to be a little wary of them trying to come out in front or even tie the ball game up here, especially when they're in the kind of in the driver's seat right at this point in time.
Cannons have had some close games this season. Their combined margin of victory is 30 in their 7 wins, giving them an average of 4.3. But this is the closest they played when you look at their average margin of defeat, which is 6. That's count now 0-1 to Owen Baxter. Babcock takes a second look back at second base. Swing and a miss, moving the count to 0-2.
An out here for the Larks would be really big, especially because the Cannons can't just sacrifice fly out into the outfield in order to score a run with one runner in scoring position for the Cannons right now.
Hard ground ball going foul. Cannons have also been very reliable on their fielding, but now they got to start to pick the bats up. If you look at in right field at the scoreboard, they have the Larks with 13 hits in tonight's game, Cannons with only 5, and it's only a 2-run game.
It's really come down to the fielding side of it for the Cannons. That's really what's kept them in this ball game.
Pitch on the way from Babcock, high and outside, ball 1. C.J. Reed's playing a little bit further back on the first base side, so is Mason Hamlin. Tabor Stokes looking for a potential pickoff, and this one I think is going to stay fair. And actually, no, it was a foul ball. The home plate umpire will call for Owen Baxter to return to home plate.
Saved by the bell there after an overthrown ball to the second baseman. That could have been detrimental for the Larks. That could have scored at least 2.
This will be the 6th pitch of the at-bat to the catcher, Owen Baxter. This one will be left down low and moving the count to 2-2. Babcock takes a deep breath, will deliver. This one will be lined foul, staying in the ballpark, off of the fence, in that area that's fenced off for the Cannons. It's now 3 foul balls by Owen Baxter.
Certainly not making this at-bat here any easier for the Larks. The count being 2-2. Larks still in control of this count.
That is ball 3, and I wonder if that hit Baxter as he's going down to first base. The home plate umpire will say that it hit him in the foot, so the bases will be loaded for the Cannons.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell from up here whether or not that actually hit him in the foot or not, and just from the angle that it did hit him.
Now Frank Leo having a discussion with the home plate umpire. Lorenzo Rios, the catcher, he didn't think that hit him, so it looks like it's going to remain the same. It's bases loaded now. Now the tying run is in scoring position. The leadoff batter got out, but the last 3 batters for the Cannons have gotten on base. Tegan Muntz is at third. Blake Seafelt is at second, and at first base is Owen Baxter. That brings up Cooper Green. He'll ground this one, diving play by Thomas Lissy, and then Tabor Stokes is the one that fields it, and he just has to concede to it, and a run scores.
Wasn't a whole lot he could really do there. He tried to dive to save that ball from going any further and tried to save a run in the process, and just couldn't quite get there to field it. It was a nice play there from Lissy to be there to back him up and make that play so that no more than 1 run scores.
Cannons building their momentum back. Ethan Nunez now up to bat. Left outside for ball one. Nunez still trying to read this Larks pitching. This one popped up, and this one's headed towards Sparks. This might be a sacrifice fly opportunity. That's 2 outs now. The runner from third headed home, and he slides in safely to tie the game up.
The first baseman number 4, Brady Hunt.
Owen Baxter will advance as well. Runners at the corners. And now that brings us to the 8th batter in the order, Brady Hunt. He's reached base twice tonight, grounded out in his previous at-bat. Line drive foul, and this one will go into the parking lot of doom.
Yeah, that's the side of the parking lot of doom that we haven't really seen very many balls go to yet tonight. And
It's kind of safe tonight. Not as many cars there tonight.
well, I'm sure that was out of anticipation of a lot of baseballs going that direction, and surprised that was the first one of the night.
There's ball one to the first baseman, Brady Hunt. Swings and misses down in the count.
Larks really need to get out of this inning if they can, with the score being tied up now 4-4. A base hit scores this runner. That's the go-ahead run for the Cannons on third base.
Babcock already has 1 strikeout in tonight's game. And this one will hit the batter. He will make his way down to first, and that leaves the bases loaded once again.
And it looked like that might have rattled Babcock a little bit. He kind of jumped up and down a little bit there after that pitch. And I'm not seeing any movement in the bullpen yet from the Larks, so it seems like Coach Leo is happy with Babcock's performance up to this point.
This one will be a line drive. It will go towards Lane Sparks, and he will keep the game tied up at 4 apiece. Going to the bottom of the 7th inning after 2 runs scored by the Cannons. We'll see what the Larks can respond when we come back. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning with the Larks bringing up their 2, 3, 4 batters in the order, still facing off against number 35, Aiden Doty. And the inning will be led off by Trent Baker. 1 run for him in tonight's game, also singled and reached on a fielder's choice in the 3rd. Left outside, but it finds the zone. Count goes to 0-1. Swings and misses, bringing the count to 0-2. Baker, a similar stat sheet to his last game. He also had a hit and reached on a fielder's choice down in Dodge City. He's currently 1 for 2 on the day. This one will slide out, and the count will go to 1-2. On deck for the Larks is Thomas Lissy. Jackson Babcock is the one in the hole. A line drive, and this one will get down in front of the center fielder as Trent Baker reaches base for the 3rd time tonight. Huge hit there to lead off the bottom of the 7th inning as Thomas Lissy will come up to the plate. And it's now time to reveal the answer to tonight's trivia question. The question was, which former Hayes Lark player led the team to an 11-8 win over the Cannons in pool play of the NBC World Series with 2 runs, 2 hits, and 3 RBIs? I see 2 responses, one for Wilbert Espinal, the other for Houston Russell. It is unfortunately none of those. The correct answer was Will Carpenter, the Ohio State Buckeye. Had a strong year with the Larks last year and played a big role in that game in pool play. Reminder, we play trivia in the 5th inning of every game, so be sure to look out for tomorrow night as the Larks play in Dodge City tomorrow night. That game against the A's was originally supposed to be here at Larks Park. We remind fans it has been moved to Cavalier Field, making that the 3rd and final time the Larks will make the trip down there this season. Count is 1-0 to Thomas Lissy. They'll show bunt, and this one will go into foul territory, bringing the count to 1-1. Lissy has 2 singles in tonight's game, also has an RBI that he recorded in his previous at-bat in the 5th inning. Baker taking a lead off at first base. Doty took a look back at first base. Takes his time as he delivers the pitch. Couldn't quite find the zone, bringing the count to 2-1. This one on the inside, a stolen base attempt here for Baker. And he beats the tag. He slides in safely and puts another Lark runner in scoring position as they try to take the lead here.
Got a really nice jump on a pitcher that is really hard to read when he's on that release. And Baker with some wheels, showing off his speed once again, getting his way to second base. And that's a pretty crucial base runner as the go-ahead run now is in scoring position.
Lissy trying to win the battle ahead 3-1. Left up high, and there's ball 4. So now that brings up the 4th batter in the order, Jackson Babcock.
Well, Babcock's had a pretty nice outing so far on the mound, and really just an all-around player. Those are those players that you really look for, especially in a league like this where it's such a fast-paced schedule that you play so quickly, and those all-around players are such nice and important and really crucial pieces to those teams because players that can play every single night of the week in a pitching position or a fielding position or even hitting as a DH can really be a very good figureheads and leaders for the team.
And I keep noting this just because of how crucial or how big it is. He's only a freshman for this Larks team. Just spent the last year with a young Colorado School of Mines team, was one of the top hitters in the RMAC. Fouling it off, starting the count 0-1. It'll be great to see how he progresses throughout this season with the Larks.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him move around in the future, at least in his college career, especially because those all-around players are so hard to come by nowadays. A lot of players are so specialized and really stuck in one position.
Baker taking a big lead. He's halfway there, and I think that's going to be a balk. It is. Baker will make his way down to third, and that will put Lissy in scoring position as well at second.
That is a detrimental mistake there for the Cannons, and that can really change the entire momentum and really outcome of this game for the Larks, as with this ball game being tied at 4 apiece, a deep fly ball scores 2 for the Larks, and so with 2 runners in scoring position on second and third, the Larks are sitting real pretty now here in the bottom of the 7th.
Line drive into right field. Running after it is Muntz. He will make the catch, but that will be a sacrifice fly as Trent Baker will cross home plate. And now at third base, Lissy was staying put, but it rolls near the Larks dugout. He will remain at third base.
And he probably could have scored there, but that was a good call for him to stay there. There's only 1 out. There's no need to send him on that. You don't have to make him run home. Why take the risk when there's another batter up to the plate, at least another 2 batters up to the plate to try and drive him in?
2 RBIs in tonight's game for Jackson Babcock, and now that brings up Tabor Stokes. He's reached base in his last 2 appearances. Fielder's choice in the 4th, single on a 2-0 count in the 5th. Called strike 1 to the shortstop. Looks like the first baseman for the Cannons, Brady Hunt, playing a little bit closer in the infield. Swing, it will go towards the shortstop. He will make the throw down to first for out number 2, and Lissy will remain put at third.
I think the most notable stat line so far in this game has been the amount of hits to runs for both teams. For the Larks, 14 hits. 14. I mean, that is a lot of hits in a baseball game, and only 5 runs. And then on the other side of the field, you've got the Cannons with only 6 hits and 4 runs. That is a pretty impressive mark for the Cannons to have only left 2 runners on base.
C.J. Reed now at to bat. Will miss at that one. Count starting off 0-1. Left fielder now playing first base because of Babcock on the mound. Ground ball to the first baseman. Hunt will field that one cleanly, and there is out number 3. But the Larks do get the lead back, taking a 5-4 lead into the top of the 8th with Trent Baker crossing on a sac fly from Jackson Babcock. We'll see if the Larks can close this thing out in the final 2 innings when we come back. Larks will make their third pitching change of the night, as it's another player that's not listed as a pitcher on the Larks roster. It's number 8, Lane Sparks, taking over the duties on the mound in relief for Jackson Babcock. Plays outfield for the Larks, though. On the Wharton State roster, he is technically listed as a left-handed pitcher, so he has experience in that position. On a 1-0 count, hard ground ball to Stokes. He'll field this one cleanly, throws it to Babcock at first base, and there is out number 1. Another 6-3 play there for the Larks, and now that brings up the second batter in the order, Hunter Alvord. We'll note the few changes for the Larks here in the 8th inning. Babcock is back at first base after pitching 2 innings. And the only other change that I can see is that in right field now, in place of Sparks, is C.J. Reed. He started in left field tonight. In left field currently is Brady Kreitzer. Swing and a miss there for Alvord, moving the count to 0-2. This one will be left high. There's the first ball of the at-bat. You got to really fight here if you're Alvord. This is the last thing you want if you're the Cannons, to start down with 2 outs, trailing by 1 without a runner on. Bounces in the dirt, ball 2. Sparks delivers. This one curves in. Lissy will run up on it, and will throw it down to first base. Takes a bounce towards Babcock, and he is out. There is the second of the inning.
Well, despite bobbling the ball a little bit there on that play, he was able to recover and fired it over to first base. Throw was a little bit shaky, but he got it there nonetheless. 2 down now for the Larks, and they're looking pretty good here going into this final couple innings.
That'll take us to the right fielder, Tegan Muntz. Scored in his previous at-bat on a 1-0 count. He singled in the 7th inning and would be brought home from an RBI single by Cooper Green. Count will start off 0-1 to the right fielder. Line drive. Hamlin tried jumping for it, just a little too high, as C.J. Reed will track this one down and throw it back in. A single for Tegan Muntz. The Cannons will be hoping history repeats itself after Muntz singled and scored in the 7th inning. He's on with 2 outs, and that brings up Blake Seafelt. Playing a little further back on the right side of the batter's box as he fouls off the first one, moving the count to 0-1. Sparks, I think, is putting a lot of these on the inside, so he is playing back a little bit in the box. Line drive foul once again.
Well, just like you said there, that was pretty inside on him, and he ended up kind of slicing that ball down the first base line, and he got kind of jammed up. I'm surprised it ended up going that way.
Sparks just needs one more strike to put Seafeld away. This one, a line drive into right field. Reed running after it. This one's going to bounce over him. This one might bring a run home. Reed throws it in, and that will be an RBI double for Blake Seafeld.
Well, just like that, the ball game's tied right back up. They say basketball is a game of runs, but I'd argue and say so is baseball. Baseball is one of those games that once a team gets going and gets some momentum, it's hard to stop them. 2 outs for the Cannons, and they get 2 runners on, and sure enough, the game's all tied up again with the go-ahead runner on second.
That takes us to Owen Baxter. 0 for 3 on the day, but got on base in his previous appearance. Starting the count at 0-1. Popped up. This one will go out of play. And now the count is actually at 1-1. Check swing there. They will say that he went around, and that was actually strike 3. So that will take us to the end of the 8th inning, where the Cannons strike back once again, tying it back up with an RBI double from Blake Seafelt that brought Tegan Muntz home. We'll see if the Larks can pull through when we come back. Aiden Doty's day will come to an end for the Cannons as they will make the call to number 31, Gavin Willett, the right-handed pitcher from Butler Community College and a former Andover Central Jaguar, to start off the bottom of the 8th inning. He'll face off against Mason Hamlin. Count goes to 1-1. Hamlin has a single tonight in the 4th inning. Lorenzo Rios is on deck. He's gotten on base in all games that he's appeared in so far. So this one will tie the count at 2-1. Infielders playing a little bit deep. Scoreboard says that the count is actually now 1-2. Swing and a miss there by Hamlin, and there is out number 1.
Good start to the outing there for the Cannons, and good start to the inning for that matter. And one down now for the Larks. The Larks are trying to see what they can do here. They've got 2 more opportunities to pull out ahead. Obviously, they've got last bats being the home team this evening, and
Facing off against Lorenzo Rios, down low for ball 1.
would imagine the Larks, considering they do have a game tomorrow, trying to avoid going any extra innings than they need to.
This one finds the zone down low. 1-1 the count. A lot of Larks fans in disagreement with that call. Pitch on the way to Rios. Ties the count at 2-1. Line drive and off the knee of the pitcher. Second baseman will field it, has to get the throw down to first, and it is in time for out number 2. The infielders will come in. I think they're going to have a talk with their pitcher, making sure he's okay, as they got 2 outs.
Well, it didn't really seem to faze him much. I'm really surprised. He took that straight to the knee, and that cannot have felt good at all.
You got to give a lot of credit to him. It just looks like it didn't even bother him.
I know, he doesn't even look fazed by it. That's certainly going to leave a welt there tomorrow. That's going to, I'm sure, going to change some colors.
Tonight's Hayes Street Liquor Beverage.
Coach for the Cannons will slowly make his way back to, or he's actually going to stay on the field. I think they're going to give Willett some practice pitches, making sure he's all right. So now that'll bring up tonight's 8th Street Liquor Beverage batter, number 4, Brady Kreitzer. He has 2 runs so far in tonight's game, and he'll lead the first one in the dirt for ball 1. This one fouled back. Kreitzer trying to fight and get a runner on. His first game as a member of the Hayes Larks. This one catches the outside part of the plate, 1-2.
The Larks faithful not happy about that call, and catching that outside corner just barely. I mean, that's one of those calls that can really go either way.
Line drive into left field. This one will land in foul territory. A well-hit ball there by Brady Kreitzer.
Yeah, that would have been a no-doubter if that would have been straightened out. Couldn't quite get it to go fair, but if Kreitzer can get a piece of another one just like that and straighten it out, man, that will go yard without a doubt.
This one will go over his head, moving the count to 2-2. He already has 1 home run in tonight's game that he hit in the 6th inning to move the Larks lead to 4-2. We'll see if he can do it again. Outside part of the plate, and they will catch him looking for the strikeout. 3 up, 3 down, and we go to the top of the 9th with the game tied up at 5 apiece. One more inning to go, and we are all tied up at 5 as the Cannons will send the 6th, 7th, and 8th batters up in their order to face off against Lane Sparks. First pitch finds the zone, going to 0-1. This one misses outside. On deck for the Cannons is Ethan Nunez. Brady Hunt is in the hole. Swing and a miss. Count going to 1-2. This is the perfect time for the Larks to face this portion of the Cannons order, especially since in the bottom of the ninth, the Larks will go back to the top of their order. And the throw to first base will go wide of Babcock, but Green will stay put at first base.
Green with a head first slide into first base there. I don't know if that really did a whole lot more for him to get there in time or not, but I think that'll probably go down as an error for the throw.
Third error for either team in tonight's game. That now brings up Ethan Nunez. 0 for 4, but brought home a run in the 7th inning on a fly out to right field.
You made a good point previously. This really is the part of the lineup that the Larks want to see at this point of the game. And they do have the top of their lineup coming up here, at least for the Larks, and that could really swing the momentum of this game in favor of the Larks here if they can get out of this inning.
That pitch finds the zone for strike one. Thomas Lissy runs up from third base, anticipating the bunt. There is ball 2.
With no outs, you've got to think a bunt might not be a bad decision here, considering the go-ahead run is on first base.
Count now moves to 3-1 after that one landed in the dirt. And that one will miss the zone as Nunez goes down to first base. Tough zone to read tonight from the umpire, and you hear it there from the crowd in disagreement with that call. No outs, go-ahead run is Cooper Green at second base, and Brady Hunt's now out to bat for the Cannons. Shows bunt. Sparks fields this one, looks at third, throws it to Babcock at first. There's out number 1.
That's what you have to do in that situation. You've got to get the sure out, especially with no outs on the board. You need to get at least something in the out column. Now with runners on second and third, the Larks are in a bit of a pickle here. They're going to need at least a strikeout here on this at-bat to avoid any damage done, at least in the scoring.
This one curves into the zone for strike 1 against Zach Makarowick. Leads the team in on-base percentage. Still has yet to get on tonight. He's 0 for 4. One on the way. This is outside, ball 2. Ground ball, fielded by Stokes. He'll throw it to home, and Rios will tag out the runner as there was a little bit of a collision trying to plow Rios over, but there's 2 away, and it's still a tie game.
Yeah, that was a little a little uncalled for there, I think, on his part. And granted, yes, he was in the base path blocking home plate, but when you're going to be out like that, you don't go straight into the catcher. That's just kind of a courtesy. You just kind of slow down and let up, or at least try to go out of the base path. But that was a little bit uncalled for, I think, in my opinion.
2 away. The Larks can breathe a sigh of relief after that at bat, but now that's Frank Leo making his way to the mound to have a talk with Lane Sparks rather than Coach Harper.
Well, a sigh of relief is certainly the best way to characterize that. I mean, for the Larks, that was a very big out. They needed that big time. And for the Cannons, sending that runner there, I mean, that was pretty much their only option. They almost had to send him, considering that was the go-ahead run. You have to kind of take that.
1-0 the count to start to the second baseman. Looks like we're having some issues with the camera in the netting. We switched over to the cam link, so until we figure everything out, that we'll stay. The Cannons will make a call to the bullpen to face off against the top of the order for the Larks. It's number 39, Gavin Hoffman, the right-handed pitcher from New Mexico Junior College that will start off against Lane Sparks. Pitch on the way, goes inside for ball one. And a perfect opportunity here. You got Lane Sparks as the leadoff batter who has shown how dangerous of a base runner he can be this season. Now the count going to 2-1. And no, that actually hit him. He's going to head down to first base.
We've got the the go-ahead run now on first base for the Larks, and you've got to think they're going to be aggressive on the base paths here, considering they've got no outs. What do they have to lose at this point?
Trent Baker will be the one that comes up to the plate. 2 runs scored so far for him tonight. Left outside for ball one. This is Gavin Hoffman's second appearance of the season for the Cannons. He was used as a starter in his first one and went 4 innings. Now they're relying on him to try to secure the victory. Stolen base here for Sparks, and he's going to get there in plenty of time.
And Sparks kind of living up to his name there, taking off from first base. Had plenty of room to get to second, and a nice jump from him. And the catcher really had no chance to throw him out.
Baker ahead in the count 2-0. Finds the zone 2-1. Sparks taking a lead at second. This one left outside for ball 3.
Sparks looked like he was thinking about going on that one. He was about a third of the way towards third base already at that point, and it's almost looking like he was watching to see if the catcher saw him or not.
Baker ahead in the count 3-1. You're kind of starting to feel the anxiety of how close this is getting. Two really good teams this early in the season, down to the wire here in the bottom of the ninth, as Trent Baker will make his way down to first base on a walk.
Well, and for the Larks, this is a really promising performance. No matter how this ends up, coming out in the end, this is a very promising performance for them, considering they're not even at full strength yet. They're not even at full strength, and they are competing with a very good ball club.
That'll bring up Thomas Lissy, has reached base 3 times in tonight's game. 2 hits and a walk. He also has an RBI that he recorded in the 5th, trying to add another one to the list tonight. There is ball 1. There is ball 2. Again, another pitch that looked like it could have been a strike, but just a tough zone to read tonight. Now the pressure is put on the Cannons.
With a 2-0 count here, the Cannons are kind of sweating some bullets here at this point of the count. They're certainly not really in control of this count, and if they were to walk this batter, they've got the bases loaded now with the go-ahead run on third base. I mean, all they need is just a medium depth pop fly to the outfield, and Larks have that ball game.
(2-0) on the way from Hoffman. Finds the zone for strike 1, tying the count. Pop fly. This one will land in foul territory. Out of play, moving the count to 2-2.
And all he was trying to do there was just drive that one deep into the outfield, far enough to where he could score that runner from second base. And he had the right idea, just didn't quite straighten it out, and it popped up behind him. Didn't quite make it to the parking lot of doom, but out of play nonetheless. Now a 2-2 count for the Larks.
Sparks will take the steal. And there is, they punch out to Thomas Lissy, but now it's 2 runners in scoring position for the Larks.
Yeah, and they'll take that. Sparks now on third base. I would imagine that the signal there was run on anything. It doesn't matter if he gets struck out, if he gets a hit or anything. You are running on anything at that point in the count, and paid off for him. Sparks now on third base, and like you said, they're in great position now. They've only got 1 out on the board. All they need is just a medium depth pop fly. I mean, it could even go into left field, and they would still be able to score the runner from third. They just need a deep hit here.
Intentional walk. They will intentionally walk Jackson Babcock, and the bases are loaded as a mound meeting will occur for the Cannons.
Well, and tactically, that's the right move. That is the right decision. Now you have the bases loaded. You have a force at any bag. You don't have to tag the runner out at home. You don't even have to hold them on third base. All you have to do is throw the ball home and touch home plate. So for the Cannons, that is the right move there in that particular scenario. And now with the bases loaded, the Larks need a base hit, and that can walk it off.
It will be Tabor Stokes that makes his way to the plate. Bases loaded, 1 out. The score, Larks 5, Cannons 5.
The Larks shortstop, number 6, Tabor Stokes.
Larks fans beginning to get loud. An opportunity to get back to their winning ways and improve to 4-1 on the year. It's finding the zone, there's strike one. Hoffman taking his time. Lobs this one in. That one almost went over the head of Baxter, and you saw Sparks over at third base begin to lead off like he was going to steal home. The count is at 1-1. Hoffman kicks and deals. Swing and a miss there by Stokes. Just needs a hard hit ball in the outfield to bring Lane Sparks home at third. Pitch on the way. Will be fouled out of play. Ball boy for the Larks will come in and hand some new ones to the umpire. Stokes will step back into the batter's box. Down in the count, 1-2. Just needs one big hit. And there is ball two. Left in the dirt. Baxter's lucky that one didn't get away from him. You can either get a big hit to the outfield or take, if you read the pitcher correctly, 2 balls will walk the winning run home. Hoffman delivers, and a swing and a miss there by Tabor Stokes. It will all come down to this batter, C.J. Reed, deciding if the Larks win or if we play some more innings.
Well, Stokes went for it all there on that pitch, and it was a well-located pitch. He knew he had an extra ball to give, so he threw it down and away and got Stokes biting on it. And now, with 2 outs, like you said, it's do or die now.
First pitch of the at-bat on the way. Catches the inside for strike one. Reed has 2 RBIs this season. Enters tonight's game with a .308 average. Down low, ball one. Pitch on the way. Fouled back. That's now a 1-2 count to C.J. Reed.
C.J. Reed going to have to battle now. Every single pitch has the possibility of striking him out, and with the opportunity that's in front of him, he has a great opportunity to get the Larks out of this ball game and not have to go into extras, considering they have a game tomorrow in Dodge City.
Pitch on the way will be left up high, ball 2. The home crowd making some noise as Reed tries to fight back. There is ball 3. One pitch to decide it.
Could you draw it out any more? I mean, talk about a payoff pitch. I mean, this is the textbook definition of a payoff pitch. This is a payoff pitch if I've ever seen one.
Sparks is the winning run at third. It's a full count with 2 outs to C.J. Reed. Hoffman delivers. Swing and a miss, and that will be the end of the 9th inning. We're playing some extras. It is 5-5.
That's free baseball for you folks back home.
We'll have extra innings for you in just a moment. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are just finding out now that tonight's game will end in a 5-5 tie. After a talk down on the field with the coaches, that'll move the Larks to 3-1-1 on the year, and the Cannons will move to 7-3-1. We'll have our post-game show for you when we come back. So tonight's game ends in a way that neither team wanted or expected. And we were talking about how hard fought of a game it was, and only one team would come out with a win. That is not the case. It ends in a 5-5 tie with some great performances from both teams.
Well, you're absolutely right. And with this not being a league matchup, I think that may have been kind of the reasoning behind not playing this one all the way out. Obviously, the Larks are still kind of shorthanded, not having their entire roster and their entire staff along with them. And with them going to go play a league opponent tomorrow at Dodge City, I think that they were just trying to preserve their players.
And we were actually told by a fan that it was going to end in a tie. I'll be honest, we did not believe him. But either way, some strong performances tonight for the Larks. Kevin Goss getting the start, his second of the season, 4 innings pitched, only allowing 2 hits and 1 run and getting 7 strikeouts on the day. And then the guys that came in for relief for him, Braxton Buer, Jackson Babcock, and Lane Sparks, they all had great performances of their own, especially because that was kind of an unusual lineup for the Larks. Babcock and Sparks are not listed as pitchers on the Larks roster, but they came out and held their own.
You're absolutely right, and they really had some players that played some roles that they're not 100% always used to, or maybe weren't necessarily expecting to play when they joined the Larks roster. But they really rose to the occasion and really put some good outings together. I think the big highlight, though, in terms of the pitching side of things, was Goss. He really had a great performance today.
And so, with that tie, the Larks can, with the win, you get to celebrate. And with a loss, you go back to the drawing board. With a tie, it's kind of like you look at the positives and the negatives. What do the Larks need to do from here on out is the thing.
Yeah, I think that, with a tie, it doesn't have a bad taste in your mouth. It's more of kind of a neutral taste, especially after coming off that loss. They had a really hot start to the season, experienced that loss just recently in their last game, and now trying to bounce back. Maybe that tie can kind of get them over that hump that they need to try to break going into this next league game.
And as you said, the Larks are back to RNBL play tomorrow. On the Larks schedule, it says that the June 11th game against Dodge City is going to be played here at Larks Park. That has been changed. They'll be moved to Cavalier Field. It is the third and final time that the Larks will play at Cavalier Field this season, and then they're back for a 3-game series from the 13th to the 15th against the Denver Cougars. The first 2 games in that series will be RNBL play, and the final game will be a non-league play being played at 6 p.m. So the Larks tie with the Cannons tonight, 5-5. Eli, thank you for joining tonight. Should be an exciting season with this being the first time we were together on air.
Yeah, without a doubt. Thank you, Hank. I really enjoyed it tonight, and excited for more games to come here at Larks Park.
Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. We will see you tomorrow night in Dodge City, and have a good night.